This is Here in My Time, and I am so thankful and excited you've tuned in to this very first season of my brand new podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Hunt, and I am so honored to say that this first season of 16 episodes, hour-long weekly segments is actually sponsored by one of my favorite stores in downtown Huntington, Indiana. Can you tell the excitement in my voice? That's right, you've guessed it, Turn the Page Books and Music Store. Rex is the owner of this fine establishment. This is the place to go if you are looking for your next read or to add to your vinyl collection. It is jam-packed full of used books, everything from fiction to nonfiction, and of course a huge variety of records from rock and roll to Taylor Swift. And let me tell you, Rex is the perfect owner because he is a music library. If you need help picking out your first record or maybe adding to your collection, this is the man for you. Whenever you walk in the door, music is playing constantly. You got perfect lighting, you've got the wooden floors. It's the perfect vibe to enjoy your day in. So make sure you stop in and visit, and also follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you so much, Rex, for your support. It means the world to me. Now on to the episode. Well, hey everybody, welcome to season 1 finale episode. I am so excited that you're here. I cannot believe that it has been 16 weeks and we made it through. I've posted a episode for 16 weeks straight, except for the week that I had technical difficulties, and then I had a way too sexy of a voice to be sharing on the internet, so I had to skip on that one. But yet, here we are. We're here. We made it through the technical difficulties, the sickness, and I didn't know what to expect, truly, of this first season when I started, but it's gone. It's here. It's under my belt, and we're good. We're gonna keep pressing forward, shall we say. I am just on caffeine. I think I'm just on caffeine and excitement at this moment. It's been so cool to see this season come to life and this whole podcast come to life. If you're new here, my name is Lauren Hunt and I am the founder of Here in My Time, and I'm a local full-time personal journalist, photographer, documentarian, and quite frankly, a lover of people and their stories, located right here in Wabash, Indiana. And Here in My Time is dedicated to bridging the gap between generations. And I feel like this season I have been able to give you a taste of that. Now, if you're new here, truly, I do encourage you to go back and listen to episode 1 all the way through so you can hear some of these amazing interviews of the guests that have said yes to come on. It's been wonderful. I've had everybody from Deborah Lynn, who is a renowned orchestra leader who played at Carnegie Hall, to a young man named Vincent who's created his own spice line and has been selling it at farmers markets and local shops, with his mom who's a homesteader and creates her own products as well. It's such a cool way to see life at different perspectives. And I've learned so much, and I just have enjoyed it thoroughly. If you've been listening to this season all the way through, thank you for being here. Your support truly does make an impact on this podcast, on how well it goes and how many episodes I could bring you and people that will come on, because it is about trust when it comes to sharing stories, and sometimes you need backing behind all that to get people more comfortable, and not only to share it to people like you, but also to understand what I am trying to accomplish in the eyes of the possible guest who I've asked to come on. And you've done that for me. So thank you so much for following here, for subscribing on here and on my Facebook and Instagram, and for reading my articles on hereinmytime.com. It means the world to me. And yes, I need to get a new saying. I know. But it's hard for me to break my habit because it does. It truly means a lot to me. So thank you. Now, I thought today I would kind of reminisce on this season. It's crazy that I actually am doing this. And I'm going to talk to you about my plans because a lot of things have changed since episode 1, and just my personal life has changed, and it has caused some really big changes for Here in My Time, which makes me really excited. So I'll get to that a little bit later, but I want to reminisce for a minute and tell you some of the things that I've learned doing this podcast. when I first started, I kind of jumped really quickly because I was like, I've been wanting to do this for 7 years. And in the episode called The Heart Behind the Podcast, I explained why I kind of started doing this and how I kind of got interested in it. But I truly feel like this idea of bridging the gap between generations and sharing people's story or making space for people to tell their stories to me, even if I don't share it on the podcast, has been written on my heart. And I can't take credit for this because I feel like it's something that God has placed on my heart to care about and to do something with. And I'm so thankful that not only He's given me the gift of the gab, but also given me the gift of all these amazing people around me. And I think I couldn't do this without Him and without you guys and your support and the guests that have come on this season. One of the biggest lessons I've learned doing this season is that there is a huge weight of responsibility when I am sharing somebody's story. And I feel that. I genuinely feel that. And I thought I fully understood it, but I didn't until the day that Rebecca came and done her podcast with me. And I'm so thankful she said yes. And one of the things that she instantly said was, I'm not interesting enough. And I think that's the biggest lie that everybody believes, the story that they tell themselves, but they are so interesting. You are so interesting. Everybody is interesting. Their life is important and interesting. But it was this moment where we started talking about her life and growing up, and then we ended up molding into discussion of domestic violence and how she got out of domestic violence and how she's brought her life into something she can enjoy more than just survival, and doing ballroom dancing and being a realtor and just enjoying life in general. And it was at that moment after sitting there speaking with her that I felt that to be true, that weight of responsibility. And I think for me, learning how to tell stories that are hard and not publicizing those stories, I think a lot of people, when they tell stories, they want to bring the dark to the light, whereas I want to bring the light to the dark in this world. And I want to share stories that are inspirational, that are true, that are honest, that are raw, and that are also safe. That aren't going to exploit my guests, that are going to make them feel comfortable in conversation, that are going to make them feel like they are the number one person in the room. And that's what I want them to feel. I want them to feel like they are the number one person in the room and they've got my full attention, and what I do and how I share it is with 100% viewing it as what is best for my guest. And I just thank you, first off, Rebecca, for sharing your story and for being just a bundle of joy. You are so amazing. So that was the biggest moment, that aha moment for me. Even though I knew telling a story and sharing people's stories are one of those things that are weighted with responsibility, that was the moment I felt it. And I learned how to be that person for somebody else, how to truly make my guests feel comfortable. Now, one of the things that I always do with my guests is I always make sure that they know they can always stop the podcast. Or maybe we have a conversation, they're like, let's not air that one. I will gladly not air it. It does not matter to me. It is not about having an episode for the week. I'll figure something else out. I want my guests to feel comfortable. But that is just probably the biggest lesson I've learned. I'm sorry, I rambled about that, but it is true. I love that. I love that feeling, because it means that my heart posture is right, and it means that I truly care. And I don't know. It just, that's probably the biggest lesson. One of the other things I've learned is a lot of times people are going to instantly say, I'm not interesting. And I think it's so funny to me that people think that. Now, I know there's a humbleness to everybody, so they're like, I'm not interesting. But there are some people that are truly believing it about themselves. And I don't think that's true. I think everybody is interesting in their own ways, and their story is important, and who they are and what they're doing is important. And I just want to show the people around them, show them themselves that they are important and that their story matters. One of the things that stand out to me was from Kathy Goman. And Kathy Goman was my English teacher. And everything that I mentioned today, you need to go back and listen to the episodes if you haven't already. But I asked her, is there somebody that you've learned from? And she said that she learns from every single person she meets. And I think that is so true. I think every person that I've talked to about the podcast, or talked to for the podcast, or talked to outside, is just, you learn so much about people. And I think that's really stuck with me. It's hard for me to just like tell you all of my feelings about my guests, because it's been amazing. But I had another thing. One of my guests, Kim Bickle, you need to listen to her episode as well. She is a bundle of joy and exercises like a crazy woman. She's insane. She's so cool, and she's so fun, and just a joyful heart in general. But I asked her if there was if there was a difference between happiness and joy and being joyful. And she said there is. And she said happiness is what is just temporary, but joyfulness comes from something deeper. And I loved that. I keep that with me in the back of my mind constantly. Carol is an amazing storyteller, and I hope to have her on again to tell a story. Carol, if you're listening, expect a call very, very soon. But she talked about storytelling and how important storytelling is for each person. And each person's story and culture is important to remember. And how she goes about telling a story is like how she looks at her intentions as a storyteller. And it really hit home for me because, of course, I am a storyteller in a different way than she is. But that's always stuck with me about being intentional with your storytelling. One of the other things that I've learned is music. Now, I have had 3 or 4 guests on this podcast about music. And the biggest thing that I have learned from them, or the biggest thing that I have taken away from them, is music is an experience, and it is meant to be experienced. You got Deborah Lynn, you've got Angelina Funk, you've got my dad, Lou Hunt, you've got Emily Perkins, who is an amazing singer. You've got all these amazing artists on here that I've brought on that talks about music. Deborah Lynn talked about how music transcends generations and time, and it bridges people together from all over culturally, from different backgrounds, and we can all gather in a room and have a unified but not uniformed experience. And live music can do that. And each one of my performers that have been on the podcast talk about this idea of coming to a live production, because it's a different experience than hearing it through your phone or watching it through your phone. But I love that idea because it really does. It really bridges us together when we decide, when we all get to listen to the same thing together. I have had homesteaders on who talked about their life experience of homesteading and why they started homesteading and why they started doing local businesses and farmers markets and their life story. And it's just so cool to see their experiences. Like A Simple Farm and A Tealstone Homestead, Tiffany Taylor, Kristen Reynolds, and Vincent. I think their whole journeys, though Vincent and Kristen, the mother and son duo on one podcast episode, was so cool. I think that you should go and listen to that episode for sure. I think it's one of those episodes where I'm like, this is exactly what I want to do and want to bring to the world. And they're just an amazing people, an amazing artistry of creating homegrown products and this idea of self-reliance and family orientation, but also their efforts in the community and farmers market. And yeah, Vincent with his little spice business, so cool. He's the coolest little man you'll ever meet. But it was so cool to actually to learn something and see that in such a plain as day aspect. It's just marvelous. I learned a lot from them about this idea of family and truly taking advantage of learning and just being intentional in their life. And Tiffany, the same thing. She's so informational, and I think you would really love, if you love this idea of homesteading and rabbits and just going after dreams and living in a tiny house. It's so cool. I was so inspired by her. Thank you, Tiffany, for being here. On the podcast. But I also had like David Nelson on, which is a local journalist. I think everybody has read his work, and that was so cool to get to know the man behind the pen. And for me, one of the things that I learned was just this idea of, you grow into your life and into your career. And he was so gracious of talking about just his life and what he's learned inside of journalism and how to become a good writer. And I learned so much from him. It was such a cool experience. I feel like we can sometimes read so many people's works, but we don't always get to know that person. And he gave us a glimpse of that, and that was really, really cool for me. I feel like I'm so blessed to have everybody on this podcast. And then my last episode before this one was Ashley Miller of Elevated Collective, and I got to tell you, it was one of those moments where I'm like, yeah, this is what community is about. This is what small town businesses are about. And I met a really good friend through that. I didn't know Ashley until then, so I learned how to walk into episodes with people I didn't know very well or people I've never met. Like, it was so cool because I know I said it cool 1,000 times, but I think for me, I get so nervous, and believe it or not, I get really nervous meeting people, and I worry about what I'm bringing across in an episode and try to think of everything as I'm talking. But sometimes by the end of this, I learned to just let go and have a conversation. Forget the mics are there. Just talk like you would normally talk. Like, that's what probably the biggest thing, as technically as it comes when it comes to a podcast, because it is. I just love having conversations with people and love just having honest and funny moments and just everything in between. I've just learned so much. I'm sorry, I'm rambling so much. And I've had the wildlife photographer, Rhoda Gehrig, and I don't even know where to start with her. Like, I learned so much about photography in that very moment, and this idea of art and how it really conforms who you are, and how you are able to bring forth something that, like for her, something that she just loves. Her eye automatically goes to the birds that are flying out my studio window. And it was just so cool because she was my art teacher. It's like I get to know these people over and over and over again. My friends, like all my friends here. My dad was on the podcast, and I learned things about him I didn't even know about. I enjoyed this so much, and I keep rambling. Just so you know, for my guests that have been on the podcast, this is to you. I want you to know that what I've just said on this podcast does not even begin to sum up how I feel about our episode. You guys are amazing, and thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say it enough. Now, before I answer that burning question in the back of your mind that's saying, is there going to be a second season of Here in My Time? I need this. Right? I sure hope you're thinking that. And also share with you my plans. I have a little surprise for you because this is a little foreshadowing to the answer to your question, as well as a little segment that just reminds me of growing up, sitting on the porch and listening to stories and playing music together. So I'm going to bring, this is the best way I can genuinely celebrate season 1, and that is to sing a song for you, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a lovely surprise, and it's called A Picture of Me Without You by George Jones. So I'm going to take you to the porch for a moment. I hope you enjoy. Imagine a world where no music was playing, and think of a church where nobody's praying. Have you ever looked up at a sky with no blue. Then you seen a picture of me without you. Have you walked in a garden where nothing was growing, and stood by a river where nothing was flowing? If you seen a red rose unkissed by the dew, then you seen a picture of me without you. Can you picture heaven with no angels singing, or a quiet Sunday morning with no church bells ringing? If you've watched as the heart of a child breaks in two, then you've seen a picture of me without you. Now, I hope you enjoyed this little segment of the song and just sitting on the porch with me. It was so much fun to sing for you. I know it wasn't perfect, but I just thought that's like the best way I could really celebrate. So I hope you enjoyed it. Now, well, I hope you enjoyed that little segment on the porch. I know it wasn't perfect and I know it wasn't studio sound, but I think that's what it is about, sitting on the porch and enjoying music. That's just how I grew up, and I wanted to start bringing that to you here, and I hope it was something that you enjoyed, and let me know what your thoughts are on that. I cannot wait to talk to you about my plans, so let's get started on that end. So you're probably wondering, after all these experiences, after being sick, after having technical difficulties, after everything that you've learned and the joys and the lows of doing this new thing called podcasting, are you going to have a second season? Yes, I am. Well, thank you so much for asking. It's so kind of you. I'm going to tell you just when it premieres right now, and that is June 1st. So make sure you mark your calendars and make sure, here's the biggest bugaboo of them all. You need to make sure that you are subscribed to whatever platform you are listening to the podcast on, because as soon as that episode is live, it actually will notify you when that episode comes up. So like, that's going to be a great way of not missing an episode. So please do that. It also shows support to the podcast. If you've been enjoying the season so far and this experience so far, please, can you rate, or you can also leave comments now, which is crazy. But if you would rate the podcast, it also helps as well. So no pressure to do so, but I do appreciate it. It helps keep ears and momentum on the podcast. Now, you're thinking there's a month there in between seasons. What are you doing for a month? Well, I will be traveling and collecting stories. I'll be out in the community. You'll see me a lot in the community, and I hope you'll stop by and say hi to me if you see me out and about. I usually have a leather camera bag and either a cowboy hat on, a flannel, or like I should get t-shirts made. That'd be so cool. Anyway, but you'll see me, and please come and say hi to me. I would love that. If you know somebody that would be a great story, or you yourself, you feel like I have this story and I feel like I should share it with the world, then please go to my website, which is at www.hereinmytime.com, and under the podcast tab, it says share your story. So click on that, and then you can fill out a little forum to let me know, is it you, or are you building a connection, and I will contact you very soon, and hopefully that will also give me some way of contacting the next person. Because believe it or not, people are like, wait, where did you hear of me? Or like, why are you contacting me? I'm sure I haven't done that yet, but just people that I've known, I've been contacting, and they've given me contacts. So I could always use contacts. Please do that. I have a huge announcement. And I was trying to figure out whether I should say something or not, but I feel like it's okay to say something. I am so excited to announce that I believe in this so much, this idea of community and bringing stories to people, and creating and cultivating a place for people to learn, and to, under that umbrella of bridging the gap between generations, all the things. I believe in it so much that I know it's written in my heart, and that I know it's what God has for me, that I quit my job. I quit my full-time job in the automotive industry, and I am switching gears in careers, and I am actually doing this full-time. And I am so excited to see what the future holds, and the people that I get to meet, and what I can do with this. And I am so excited to see what can happen with this. I see Here in My Time as a place where people can learn, and people can come together and feel safe. And as much as I do here online, my number one intention is to make it tangible in my community. So there's going to be some stuff coming up, and I am going to work out some of the things. So make sure you go to my Facebook and Instagram. I know I've already said that, but please follow there, because you'll get notified. I'll be teaching some classes soon. I've got some classes that I would love to teach photography on, to broom making, to bringing you music. And I find this as a way of entertainment online, but I also, like I said, want to make a tangible difference in my community. So I cannot wait to share all that with you, and I hope that you will come along for the ride. And if you're wondering how you could support me in this ride, all you have to do is follow. That's all I ask of you. If you feel up to it, rate and review the podcast, but that's not why I told you this. I just believe in this so much that I know that all of us in our communities and as individuals can make a tangible difference, and I just want to encourage that. So I cannot wait. Make sure you head over to Here in My Time on my website, because there's going to be weekly writings always, and even with the podcast episodes coming up in June 1st, there will be an actual second writing as well, just day-to-day writings or musings from me. So make sure you will always tune into there and read those. I love to write, and I hope you enjoy those as well. Okay, guys, I have rambled so much, and if you would love to learn more, please email me. You can do that at hearemytime@gmail.com, or of course you can just head to my website and you can fill out a little form there that just gets a message to me instantly, and you can also message me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for this first season. Thank you to my guests, and thank you to my sponsor, Turn the Page Books and Music Store. Rex, you are an amazing person. Thank you for taking a chance on me. It means the world to me. Again, with the means the world to me, but it's true. Thank you. And I hope to see you June 1st, and I hope to see you over on Facebook and Instagram. Okay, until June 1st. Bye-bye now.